Welcome back to the Womenomics Podcast. Think of this time as soul care with your hosts, Tiara and Corinne. Woo! Wow. Okay, so episode 3, and we about to get deep. How you feeling this week?
I'm feeling good. It is Wednesday. Happy Womenomics Wednesday, by the way. Um,
Yes.
I'm feeling okay. Last week was some ups and downs with money in the business, but I'm still just wrapping my brain around the fact that that's going to be every week, all the time. It's just the nature of a business owner. So let's move on.
hmm Yeah, I'm here with you. I would say last week has been interesting for me as well. It's like I don't know. Lately, I've been dealing with a little bit of like customer abandonment,
Mm.
meaning like I'll have someone sign up for a consultation and just like no show the consultation. And I'm just like, well, was it something I said? Because I don't think I said anything yet.
Mm.
Like, that was the point of the consultation.
So you schedule with them for
Mhm.
for wedding efficient services, and they don't show up, or they just don't pay you.
No, so they don't show up. So the way that my process is like typically a couple will reach out to me on a platform. So whether it's through social media or Wedding Wire or somewhere I advertise, we'll have our little quick conversation. I'll invite them to do a consultation and I'll leave the link and then, they make their decision after that. So they'll schedule the consultation and sometimes they'll just like completely don't show up. You reach out, nothing. You send them a text, nothing, and then you send them the link to reschedule and it's like radio silence and it was like but we was just cool, like we was just cool in the inbox. Like
Mm.
what happened from when you scheduled your consultation to wherever we are, like when the actual consultation came, that you was just like, yeah girl, I'm gonna just ghost you, like, you know what I mean? And it's I as a business owner, like you have to get used to that and learn not to like harbor, anything around it. But for us, it's like this is life or death. Like, you know what I mean? Like, this is our main source of income. This is how we are feeding our family. So I think it's so human nature of us to take it personal
Mm-hmm. No.
when we're like a little tiny scope in that person's world.
Yeah. I found when I was doing primarily mobile notary work for my business, I got ghosted a lot. We would
Yes.
confirm appointment. I would confirm the appointment with the client. I would drive to their location. And then after 5 minutes, I already know they are not coming. Because if they were late, typically the client would be like, I'm so sorry. They would text me, I'm on my way. But if it's radio
Mm-hmm.
silence and I'm sitting in my car, I feel foolish. I feel like I wasted gas and my time. But in cases like that, I said, okay, so how can I avoid this happening? Like for me, you got to pay me in advance.
Yep.
So customers pay me up front. And I'm like, if you don't show up, which has never happened because now they have skin in the game
Right.
and they pay me, I can rest assured that, I'm going to, provide the service. But when you're doing consultations and you have to, sell the service to the customer, they may or not show up. And it's like, what do you do in that case? You could, refine your business and change the structure around it. Let them know maybe, hey, if I give it's a 15-minute grace period and then I move on, and then you kind of separate yourself emotionally from that abandonment. But nonetheless, you still feel crappy. We take this stuff personal.
I mean, no, that's absolutely true. And it's funny because the first thing you said was like kind of like what do you do to like move past it or improve the situation, and it's kind of like, yeah, like what do you do, like can you provide more information in the conversation that you're having on that platform, before you get to the scheduling of the consultation. Yeah, absolutely, you definitely don't want to give away too much, you want to keep it intriguing, you want to ask questions, but you want to move them off of the platform and into your funnel. So I think I've kind of gotten pretty good with that. But here's one thing that I feel like would definitely benefit me. And I've recently thought about implementing this, and now I'm actually curious to see the results. So with Calendly, you can redirect someone to an external like website after they have scheduled their appointment. So if you want to do like a thank you page,
Mm-hmm.
or this is your, like, these are your next steps page, or something like that, for me is a video kind of just saying congratulations on your engagement, thank you for scheduling this consultation time, just something to give them a little peek into what the consultation is going to be like, a little bit with me and my personality and what it's like to work with me. And that's one thing I can create one time and just attach it to all of my Calendly events that for people who schedule. And I'm just curious to see what type of impact that will have on my conversion, because everything about weddings is like an emotional based business, right? They want to get to know your personality, they want to hear your voice, they want to see your face. And before you get to the consultation, you really don't have that opportunity to engage with me in that way. But now you have this little snippet of a video to give you something to look forward to in that consultation. So
I love that. That is so I've never seen that before. I mean, I have on my Calendly, when a customer pays, they get routed to my website, like a private thank you page that you normally don't see on my website.
I
And
love that.
thank you for choosing us. Give us a call or email if you have any questions about next steps, whatever. But to have a video pop up, that is clever. I like that. I like that. And maybe that will, because now they see a face. Is your face on there?
Yeah, so it would just be
Yeah.
a video of me talking quick, maybe 30 seconds or less, something very,
Yeah.
to the point.
I think that would personalize the experience more. And if a person, now that they kind of like met you, because you're looking at
Right.
saying thank you, da da da, and you took the time to create that. And so if they decide because they're probably shopping around and they decided they
Yep.
don't meet, they might just reach back out because they kind of like met you already.
Yeah.
It just may do a trick on the mind. So you definitely should test the market with that. But also, like, consider like everybody isn't for you,
Mm-hmm.
and so I realize it's still a struggle. But when customers contact me, let's say I get 10 calls a day for apostle services, and I close with 2 of those 10, I'm feeling like I failed with 8 customers. Why? Like, what went wrong with
Mm-hmm.
these 8 customers? And there could be a number of reasons. And so I don't know. So sometimes we make the mistake of creating these stories without any factual basis of why they didn't contact us. And if it's the wrong storyline, now we feel like crap. But
Yep.
I just use it also to like perfect my process. Like, that's what my coach always tells us to do: perfect your process. So I'll run scenarios like, you know what, my email was too wordy that I sent them, and they said, that is way too much to understand. I assume that's what it is. So then I say, okay, how can I make that process better? If that is the case for one of those 8 people. And I said, okay, well, maybe I can make it more concise. Maybe I can have visual images in my messaging. Simplification is the name of the game for my process for my clients, because I'm providing them with a convenient service and to do something on their behalf. So I can't make it too complex. So I run
Mm-hmm.
all these different scenarios. Or maybe they need more personalized service. Maybe I should have called them as a follow-up. Okay, so maybe I'll just do a short follow-up call. So I'll try to like redirect my feelings of defeat with solutions. And what that has done, even though I'm still feeling some sort of way, what it has helped me do is improve my process. Because at first I was counting the potential money from all 10 clients. So then I felt like I
Mm.
lost 8 clients worth of revenue for the day, which is backwards.
Right.
Because it's just like browsing in a store. Some people are going to come in your store and buy something. Some people may not see what they're looking for. That has nothing to do with the offerings in your store. It has everything to do with what they want, and you can't provide everything for everybody. But I think I'm still new, I'm still growing and evolving, so I know I don't have it all together. So I use the rejection as a way to say, well, what could I have done differently? At first it was price, and I kept changing my price every 2.5 seconds. And I'm like, Corinne, you're not going to make everyone happy. What you're going to do is race to the bottom, race to $0. And the people that will be willing to pay me the premium price I started out with will just pay me the $2 that I changed my price to. So it's
Mhm.
like you have to find some solid ground to stand on, to believe in, and be optimistic even when you get rejections. And so I found that like I'm very much closely, my validation is so closely related to my performance outcomes with my business. So that shows up constantly, but that, that dates back before our businesses. So I
Yeah.
think we tend to show ourselves and all our issues and all of that kind of stuff in our business. And we have to learn how to kind of segment that, because if not, you're going to find yourself in a world of trouble taking everything personal.
No, that is such a bar. And you had said a lot of gems in there. Really, I think the biggest thing is, like you say, like not taking it personal. I think for me, it's just the idea of, am I going to be like, your perfect fit? Our personality is going to match. Everything about the consultations are a vibe check. I tell my clients, my couples, it's a vibe check. It's written on my website that it's a vibe check. Like, I want you to understand, like, I'm all about the good vibes, because that really leads into and nurtures that like customer experience, the journey that they're about to go on with me for this happy time in their life. And so, it's always super important to me to kind of like help someone all the way through the funnel, because like you
Mhm.
said, that's how you kind of perfect the process. It's like, all right, where did it break down here? Where could I have done better? Listen, I was just in Calendly yesterday blocking off all of my weekends, because I recognize that when I take like ceremony meetings or planning meetings on the weekends, I kind of dread it. And I feel
Mhm.
like that in the long term will like run into my performance, the experience that my couples have, and just my overall quality of life. And it's like, all right, well, I'm in a position to literally build this business from the ground up, right? It's mine. I can do whatever I want. Remember when we used to be in our staff meetings and our bosses would ask us what we think can improve something? We give them all our great ideas and they go like, okay, great, and still do what they doing.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, we don't have to deal with that no more. And it's such a blessing.
That is so true. That is so true. We're so used to having this rule followed structure, and we can set new standards, we can set new goals, we can redirect our plans, and we can just, and I struggle with that. If I've been doing certain things a certain way, I feel like now I'm cornered into doing it that way. And I'm like, hold on, I am also the CEO too.
Right,
I can
okay?
change it. Yep. That is so true. But like abandonment, like client abandonment, I don't feel, I would love to know, like get this feedback from like more seasoned veteran business owners.
Hmm.
But I do understand that every customer isn't for us, but we're also newer entrepreneurs, and so money is a priority.
Hmm.
Even though we want to give the quality of service, we know we have something valuable to provide in exchange for money. We still also are counting the dollars because we're still building. And so if that is our main and only driver to get the business, like that's how the business sometimes kind of slows down, because we're missing the things that matter. So like all those clients, I won't say all those, but those who have not shown up for you, if it's about vibes and making sure there's a good connection with them, and
Hmm.
those who don't connect with you, maybe the vibe isn't what they want, and that's not because you don't have good vibes, it's because it's not
Right,
a match.
right.
And so imagine if every couple shows up for you and the vibe is not right, you probably not turning that money down. You probably want to move forward with it, but it's not quite right. So it's kind of a win sometimes. It's like when you miss the bus going somewhere and you're like, dang, now I'm going to be late. But it's like, what if you got on that bus? Things would be very different. So I try to look at it in so many other ways, because our minds can have us feeling all sorts of terrible, but it's like 100 ways there's 100 upside to client rejection. One is just straight up business improvement. Sometimes we know our
Yeah.
stuff could be better. It's on our to-do list. We probably need to update this. We probably need to put more information out about who we are, marketing, whatever. We know we need to do it. And then you start seeing a consistency of clients not doing or following through. It's like, come on now. you can't just sit here and cry about rejection. Maybe you need to spend that. Now you got free time.
Nope.
Spend time making improvements. But I don't. It doesn't get old. I try to implement those tools. I use that to kind of I reflect more because I've had days where I'm like, I'm a loser. I don't understand. I'm doing everything I can. But once I wipe my tears, I'll sit here and I was like, okay, so now I'm seeing some consistency here. Customers will call me. I provide them with information, and somehow they'll say, okay, thank you for that information. I will get back to you once I talk to my spouse. And I already know
Mhm.
what that means, So I started to think, okay, it could be a number of things. Now, what can I do about it? And I'll just start thinking of the different scenarios and try to improve. I no longer try to appease every customer. I just don't. And I look at what are my values and what are my whys. Like, why am I actually doing this? Like, I sometimes have to get out of the way of the money, and that's like a big thing for me. So I'll think, like,
Mm.
why am I providing this service in the first place? Or I will put myself in that customer's shoes who just called me, even though they didn't meet the vibe check. I'm like, okay, so let's say I was them and I called Corinne's business. What is it that could have been missing? And I start to uncover things. I'll start to say, well, I was in the car when I was on the phone. It sounded a whole hot mess.
Mhm.
Maybe you know what I'm saying? It's stuff we
Yes.
can't avoid as small business owners, but I was in the car. That's first. Second, I overtalked a little bit because I was excited. Okay.
Mhm.
Or that person was in a rush and my services didn't meet their needs. Nothing I can do about that. So it's like it's so many different things to reflect on, and that helps me, do away with the self-doubt.
I love that because it's basically like, giving yourself an audit. So the one thing that I feel like we always emphasize on is when your mind starts to chatter, right? When the self doubt starts to come in and all these other things. And it's like, how do I snap myself out of that? Like, how do I bring myself back to reality or at least silence those thoughts for a little bit? I feel like those thoughts start to speak louder when, like, our real thoughts, our main thoughts are quiet, right? So
Mm-hmm.
we have to combat those with the truths, right? The truths of the situation, the realities of the situation. And I just love how you broke down what that looks like in real time. The reality is, I was in the car, I had the window open, the baby in the background with the YouTube on the cell phone is loud. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But I felt like, all right, I want to answer this. You know what I'm saying? I need to make X, Y, and Z happen. So I need to answer this phone.
Mm-hmm.
Or, like you're saying, I over talked a little bit, or I under talked and I really wasn't quite sure. So I was a little bit shaky. And, like, we have to understand the realities of, like, what we go through. We're not the star closer every time that we get on the phone.
Mm-hmm.
That's not a reality. We start to put these unrealistic expectations on ourselves, and that just adds fuel to the self-doubt fire. And it's like, we don't need to do that. Like, we already we already in the what do you say, like, entrepreneurship is like, eat what you kill. Like, we already put ourselves in this type of environment. Why make ourselves at more of a disadvantage by negative talking and allowing self doubt to impact our realities?
Yeah.
No, we need to stay in the reality.
And you know what? Like for me personally, like I implement a lot of tools because I know mindset is one of the most important things to allow yourself to thrive, like the correct mindset. And so
Right.
I struggle with those things every day. But I feel like when clients abandon us or don't follow through, or they give us this impression they're super excited and then nothing happens, or we get all the way to the invoice and they never pay or whatever,
Yep.
you can feel very, very defeated. But what I have found, that is also humbling in a good way, because baby, let me tell you, I have had weeks where my phone is ringing off the hook. I'm closing orders left and right. I don't have any time to think. I just feel like I'm literally on top of the world.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm excited about my business. I feel so good when I'm just running things down on the phone with customers. I'm thinking, I really know my shit. I have learned this stuff. It feels really, really good to be an authority on the phone, to and have a solution for their problems. I can feel the relief in their voice when they're asking me for things they don't think that I can do. And I'm like, yeah, I can do that. And here's how it works and blah, 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 blah. And people
Mm-hmm.
pay me exactly the fee that I charge them without any question. And then, that happens, and you see that your business bank account growing, and you feel very, very empowered. And if you're not careful, if you don't have proper balance, the grind you had when you started can kind of fade, because you're
Yeah.
just running your business. You're running your business like you've arrived. And then things get radio silent, and you're like, okay, why my phone not ringing? What's going on? So what I found is that up and down, part of business allows me to remember that every day my phone is not going to ring, and that I need to be making improvements. I need to be staying in gratitude and just keeping more of a healthy balance, because ego can creep in, when it's good and when it's bad. So now I can look back, like last week for me was semi slow. And so I always get nervous when it's slow, even though I've seen the cycle enough times to know that this is just a part of business. I get real nervous. I'm like, okay, well, wait a minute. Let me see. What's my phone? My phone is on. My Wi-Fi is on. Okay. Why am I not getting the business I had last week? But
Right.
what I do know is that the week before, I know what it felt like to bring in business. I know what it felt like to close my orders. I know what it felt like to see all those deposits into my bank account. And I also have already felt previously what it felt like when it's slow. So now it's humbling. So when the days, when my weeks I'm really busy and everything, my business is lucrative, I'm just I'm just leaning into gratitude, because I know it's not going to be like this all the time. And I'm appreciative of every client that I close with. And I'm also appreciative now to those that don't, because
Right.
it allows me to do some self-reflection, because I wasn't reflecting on nothing when that money was coming. I was on
No.
to the next.
I know that's right. But no, that gratitude is really like a cheat code, because I feel the same way. Even when I think about like the times that I have consultations at no shows, it's like, yeah, that sucks because of again, the potential profit, right? But
Mm,
at the same time, I think about the energy that I've expended. You
mm,
know what I mean? It's just like, I ain't really give nothing up either. I ain't gonna be honest. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'll be honest. I ain't really give up too much. I ain't, drive there. Sometimes I talk to people on the phone and we may, move to a consultation that way, but most of the time it's electronic. Everybody's doing things online, whether it's Instagram, whether it's like Wedding Wire than not, even Google, like people are communicating everything via text message or emails, that now I don't even have to talk on the phone. And, just having appreciation for the way I run my officiant business overall is all of my meetings are virtual up until wedding day.
mm.
So, when I think about that, then it's like, all right, I don't feel so bad about being ghosted, because I've just set up a business where it's like when I get, it's just such a bonus to get that if I don't get it, I don't know why. It's like I don't always feel um discouraged. It's just like, damn, that could have been a little extra song,
Right.
that could have did something with that. But it's like I ain't, I ain't
Yeah.
taking it to heart.
Yeah, and it also helps us kind of like we've seen people who are great salespeople, like when you go in the
Hmm.
shoe stores or when you're walking through the mall, and people want you to, they want to put that lotion on your hands.
Yeah.
You know how many rejections these people get per day? I feel
Yep.
like 85.9% of the people walking past them are like, no, I saw you last week. You're not putting that on my hands. No, 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 no. And they will keep talking to you, even though you
Yeah.
don't even acknowledge them sometimes. They will keep talking, keep talking, keep talking with the little sample handed out. And that is rejection. And they will wait for the next person and do it over and over again. And if you come back down that way, they're still trying to sell it to you again. So you don't even want to give them eye contact.
Yeah.
So like that level of fearlessness and being willing to be vulnerable like that is, I think, what we will eventually transition to, because
Yes.
they understand the value of what they're trying to sell. They understand the value of the money they could potentially get if they
Yep.
get our attention. And that is what they're focused on. They're not focused on the fact that Corinne kept going and didn't want it, because, well, if you come back, I'm going to offer it again. You might want it then. And like those people built different because
Yeah, it
I
is.
don't know if I could be out there, but essentially I am one of those people. I am selling, I am building a business, I am the revenue I receive is what feeds my family. So you just have to separate yourself, your individual self from the business. You are the business. And if those couples don't show up, you give them that, you build it in your process, 15-minute grace period, you move on, you send them a courtesy email of a reschedule, and you move on with your process. That's all
Hmm.
you can do.
No, that's literally it. But like I said, there are just, again, the benefits of looking through your process, the benefits of, doing an audit, the benefits of, just having gratitude for whatever you did or didn't do with that interaction or engagement with that potential client. And then you move on. So that's really just like now that's going to be my 3-step process. Like, that's what I'm adding to my toolkit. I like the idea of auditing yourself just to really bring yourself out of that self doubt and negative self talk into the reality that there's so many potential reasons why this sale didn't close. Here are all of them, like all 50 of them. So the one that's like trying to bang me in my head, like we can't give that any more light or thought or power, because we know that all these other, reasons exist. So
Right.
now this person has to be quiet. Like you have to calm down, bro. Like it's so many other things that could have been than that.
Mhm.
So I really love that. And then always doing that audit in order to perfect your process. Like, they really lean into one another. Okay, well, now I need to have a plan for when I'm in the car and I need to answer the phone, or, I need to have a little questionnaire thing that I can pull up so I don't over talk, or I need to figure out my process so that I can send out my payment links. I don't let too much time for them to shop somewhere else. Whatever it is, it's
Mhm.
just those opportunities to really refine, your process, and just being grateful that you're in business, that you're getting calls. That means you're getting seen. Even if you didn't close that sale, you still have opened up your business to a new person and potentially other people, because you don't know who they're going to talk to. And
Mhm.
you just got to carry it like that.
That's
Chalk it up.
Yep. And I started to, when I am in my office space, when a customer calls and I'm sending them information, I start to track it. Like, I literally have a spreadsheet of customers that call, that are potential customers, their whole profile, what they were looking for, the fee that I would have charged them if they close. And I look at them just like I study the customers that have closed. So you can kind of start narrowing down who your ideal customer is. I want to understand who these customers are and why they may or may not be my ideal customer. And so what I found, that there are some people of certain profiles that may not like my price point. That's okay. There
Hmm.
are companies that will meet what your needs are. And then sometimes it's like just the nature of our vibe on the phone. They maybe want a more simplified process or whatever. But I've started to see trends with those that don't close. And sometimes I'm the common denominator. It's me. And so I have to make those adjustments. And so being busy like that, looking at every opportunity as a way to improve, I started to not take it personal as much. But if you
Hmm.
catch me on the wrong day, I'm in my feelings, but I still have to like go back and say, okay, I'm not quitting my business. So that customer didn't close. Maybe I wasn't for them, or maybe I need to improve these things. And we never truly know what it is, but I think at the end of the day, we end up moving forward and growing even more because we're taking these down periods and we're leveraging them to our benefit. And
Oh,
I know it works. It's no other way, because if we spend our time always being angry, we are so distracted from the vision that we have for our business. And it's just not productive.
hmm. I love that. Well, we're gonna end on that note. Give you some food for thought right there. We definitely love to know how you felt about this episode. How do you handle, customer abandonment, and what tools are you taking into your toolbox to help you move forward and to keep getting more leads and closing more sales? So we are super excited. Happy Womenomics Wednesday. Thank you for joining us again, and we will see you next week. Peace out, y'all.
Bye, y'all.